He pressed record and looked into the camera with tired eyes. Then, almost in a whisper, he said 2 words: "I'm sorry." At first, many fans shrugged. Desmond Amofa, better known as Etika, was a master of drama. He was unpredictable, larger than life, and never afraid to stir emotions. Surely, they thought, this was just another one of his acts, another moment that would blow over like it always had before. But this time, it wasn't. Within days, Etika would vanish, and his final video would become one of the most chilling goodbyes the internet has ever witnessed. To understand the weight of those words, you need to understand the man behind them. Etika wasn't just a YouTuber. He was a phenomenon. In the world of Nintendo fans, he was a legend. His explosive reactions to game announcements became viral events. When Nintendo revealed a new Smash Bros. Character, Etika would scream, laugh, leap from his chair. His joy was contagious. Fans didn't just watch him play games, they watched him live them. Every upload, every live stream was electric. He could take the smallest piece of news and turn it into a spectacle. For years, he embodied the energy and excitement of internet culture at its peak. But behind the laughter, something darker was growing. In 2018 and 2019, cracks began to show. Strange tweets, sudden rants, erratic behavior that left fans both worried and confused. He deleted his social media only to come back with cryptic posts. He disappeared for days at a time. Police were even called during live streams when his behavior turned alarming. Each time, fans hoped it was just a phase, that Etika, the entertainer they loved, would bounce back. But by June 2019, the signs were impossible to ignore. On June 19th, Etika uploaded a video titled, "I'm Sorry." From the very first second, it didn't feel like the Etika his fans knew. There were no wild reactions, no booming laughter, no hype. Instead, there was a calmness, a disturbing calmness. He spoke softly, reflecting on his life, on the mistakes he made, on the pain he caused. He talked about how the internet had consumed him, how the fame and pressure became too heavy to carry. And then, he apologized. Not just to one person, not just for one mistake. He apologized to everyone, to his friends, his fans, his family. He said he had lost control, that he was sorry for everything. For those watching, it was haunting. This didn't feel like entertainment. It didn't feel like content. It felt like a goodbye. The reaction was immediate. Some viewers broke down crying in the comments. Others begged him to take the video down, to get help. And some still insisted it was a stunt, that this was Etika being dramatic again. But deep down, many knew the truth. Something was terribly wrong. The video was quickly removed from YouTube, but the damage was done. Thousands had seen it, and the sense of dread was spreading fast. Hours passed, then days. Etika didn't stream, he didn't tweet, he didn't respond, he had simply disappeared. His fans became desperate. They organized online searches, posting updates everywhere they could. People in New York City looked for him on the streets, sharing possible sightings. Every hour that passed without news only made the fear grow stronger. Police confirmed he was missing. His belongings were found, but not him. The internet, the place where he had built his entire life and career, now became a massive search party. Millions held their breath, waiting for good news, hoping he'd come back online, smiling, laughing, saying it was all a mistake. But that moment never came. On June 25th, 2019, the waiting ended. Etika's body was discovered in the East River, not far from where his phone and other items had been found earlier. The man who once embodied so much life, so much energy, was gone. The news broke the internet. Social media flooded with tributes. Fans cried openly on live streams. YouTubers who once collaborated with him posted broken messages, unable to process what had happened. It wasn't just the death of a content creator. It was the loss of someone who had brought so much joy, and who, in the end, revealed just how much pain he had been carrying all along. And then, there was the video. Even though YouTube removed "I'm sorry," copies spread online. For those who had seen it, the memory lingered. The way he stared into the lens, the cracks in his voice, the haunting calmness. It felt less like a video and more like a letter. A digital suicide note broadcast to millions. What makes it even more terrifying is that in the moment, so many didn't know how to react. Some treated it like another act. Some begged him to stop, and others simply watched, powerless, not realizing they were witnessing the last message of a man in unbearable pain. That's what makes it one of the darkest final videos on the internet, because it wasn't entertainment, it wasn't content, it was goodbye, hiding in plain sight. Etika's story has become a chilling reminder of the pressure content creators face, and the way internet fame can both build and destroy a life. His final words, "I'm sorry," carry more weight now than anything he had ever shouted in joy. It's a video that should never have existed, and yet it does. A permanent scar on the digital world, proof that sometimes the internet captures moments that were never meant to be seen. He looked straight into the camera, smiled, and asked a question that would haunt millions forever. What would you do if you only had 24 hours left to live? At the time, it seemed like a harmless moment. Just another funny, random question from a kid who loved making videos with his family. But less than 24 hours later, Caleb Logan Bratelli would be gone. And that video, that last glimpse of him alive, would become one of the most chilling final uploads in YouTube history. To understand why this shook the internet so deeply, you need to know who Caleb was. Caleb wasn't just any kid. He was part of the Bratelli family, one of the first true YouTube families. Long before vlogging was mainstream, their channel was a window into everyday life. School, sports, silly pranks, family trips. It was simple, innocent, and wholesome. Millions tuned in not for drama or shock value, but because the Bratellis felt like friends. At the heart of it was Caleb, goofy, energetic, always smiling. He wasn't just the older brother, he was the life of the channel. Whether he was cracking jokes, teasing his sisters, or just laughing at something random, Caleb brought a kind of joy that felt real. Fans adored him. He was the kind of kid who reminded you of your own brother, cousin, or best friend. He wasn't trying to be famous, he was just being himself, and that was enough. On October 1st, 2015, the Bratellis uploaded what seemed like another normal vlog. It was titled, Dear Future Self. The concept was simple. Each family member recorded a message to their future self, something fun to look back on years later. They laughed, made silly faces, answered random questions. Then, it was Caleb's turn. He looked into the camera, that wide, mischievous smile on his face. He thought for a moment, then asked, "What would you do if you only had 24 hours left to live?" It was the kind of playful, offhand question you'd expect from a 13-year-old. Nobody watching thought much of it. Not his family, not his fans, not even Caleb himself. But in less than 24 hours, that question would no longer be playful. It would be haunting. The next day, on October 2nd, 2015, tragedy struck. Caleb suddenly collapsed in his home. Paramedics rushed to help, but it was too late. The boy who had filled millions of screens with laughter was gone, just 13 years old. The news spread like wildfire. Fans refused to believe it. Some thought it was a cruel hoax. Others refreshed the channel, waiting for the Bratellis to post something that would explain it all. But the confirmation came quickly. Caleb had died, unexpectedly, suddenly, and without warning. And that's when people remembered his last video. What would you do if you only had 24 hours left to live? The eerie timing sent shivers down the internet. What had seemed like an innocent question now felt like a chilling prophecy. At first, rumors exploded. How could a healthy 13-year-old just die overnight? Some speculated about accidents. Others whispered about darker possibilities. But the truth was eventually revealed. Caleb suffered from an undiagnosed heart condition, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a disease where the heart muscle becomes abnormally thick, making it harder to pump blood. It's rare and often silent. Most who have it never even know until it's too late. Caleb didn't show symptoms. He seemed healthy, happy, full of energy, but inside his heart was slowly failing. And on that October day, it stopped. The Bratelli family was shattered. Their channel, once filled with daily laughter, now became a place of mourning. They uploaded a video titled, Rest in Peace, Caleb Logan. In it, they shared old clips of him, his smile, his jokes, his light. The final frame simply read, Forever in our hearts. Millions of fans around the world cried. The comments section filled with disbelief, grief, and heartbreak. Viewers who had grown up watching him felt like they had lost a brother. But no matter how many tributes poured in, one thing overshadowed everything else: his final words. What would you do if you only had 24 hours left to live? It was almost too painful to process. A question meant as a joke had become his last message to the world. The video spread everywhere. News outlets covered it. Reaction channels replayed it. Millions of strangers who had never even heard of Caleb clicked and felt the same chill. Because it wasn't just his death that was haunting. It was the way the video seemed to know. As if he was asking the world something he couldn't ask himself. As if he was already leaving behind one last piece of himself for people to remember. That's what makes it so unforgettable. To this day, fans still return to that video. They watch his smile, hear his laughter, and then hear that one chilling line. And every time it feels the same. A punch in the chest. A reminder of how fragile life can be, and how none of us ever know how much time we have left. Caleb's legacy didn't end with tragedy, though. His family started speaking out about heart health. They used their platform to raise awareness so that maybe other families wouldn't face the same heartbreak. Fans carry his memory in fan art, tributes, and even small acts of kindness done in his name. But no matter how much good has come since, that final video remains. A digital ghost, a moment frozen in time, a boy asking the world a question, without knowing that he had just hours left to live. And that's why the Dear Future Self vlog has become one of the most haunting uploads on YouTube. Not because it was meant to be, not because it was staged, but because it captured something real, something final, something that should have never been recorded. Caleb Logan Bertaley was only 13, his whole life ahead of him, a future that should have been filled with more jokes, more memories, more love. Instead, it ended with a single question. What would you do if you only had 24 hours left to live? For millions, that question will never stop echoing, because sometimes the most chilling videos on the internet aren't the ones filled with horror or violence. Sometimes, they're the ones that feel almost normal, until you realize they were the last. Los Angeles, May 10th, 2020. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, a night filled with laughter, friends, and birthday wishes. But within hours, it turned into one of the darkest moments the YouTube community has ever witnessed. Cory LaBarrie was just 25 years old, full of energy, charisma, and that rare kind of humor that made him instantly likable. He wasn't one of the biggest creators on YouTube, but to the people who followed him, he was unforgettable. His fans described him as genuine, funny, and completely unafraid to be himself. In a world of carefully curated personas and filtered lives, Cory was refreshing. He was real. And on his 25th birthday, he wanted to spend it with his fans. Not with some over-the-top staged event, but with a live stream, a chance for everyone who supported him to share in his milestone. But no one, not his friends, not his family, not the thousands watching from their homes, could have predicted that this live stream would become the last time the world would ever see him alive. Cory's path to YouTube stardom wasn't overnight. Born in Adelaide, Australia, he grew up as a kid who loved making people laugh. Even in school, he had a reputation for being the funny one, the guy who could turn even the most awkward situation into a joke. He started uploading videos to YouTube as a teenager, not expecting much, but slowly his authenticity began to resonate. By his early 20s, he had moved to Los Angeles, chasing the dream of building a career as a content creator. He built a loyal fan base. And while he wasn't pulling in millions per video, the people who watched him truly cared. They saw him as approachable, relatable, and always willing to connect. Cory often reminded his fans that fame didn't matter. What mattered was enjoying life, having fun, and making memories. That mindset made him a beloved figure in the creator community. But behind the fun, Cory also dealt with the pressure that comes with being in the spotlight. Like so many influencers, he struggled with the constant grind, the comparisons, and the toxic side of social media. And yet, he always kept his trademark smile, never letting his audience see just how heavy things could get. So when May 10th came around, his 25th birthday, he decided to do what he did best, make people smile. He announced that he would be going live, celebrating his birthday with everyone watching. Fans were excited. It felt like an invitation into his real life, a chance to be there in the moment with him. But behind the scenes, Cory had also made plans with friends. One of those friends was Daniel Silva, a well-known tattoo artist who had gained fame after appearing on the reality TV show Ink Master. Silva was talented, confident, and known for his edgy lifestyle. The two had become part of the same Los Angeles social circle where creators, influencers, and entertainers often mingled. That night, the plan was simple. Celebrate Cory's birthday, enjoy the live stream, then head out for drinks and fun. But the night spiraled in ways no one could have imagined. The live stream itself was typical Cory, full of jokes, laughter, and interactions with his fans. Viewers commented how happy he looked, how he seemed to be enjoying his night. But some also noticed something else, a kind of chaotic energy, the kind that hinted the night wasn't going to stay innocent for long. As the camera rolled, Cory joked about drinking, about partying, and about the crazy antics that might follow. For fans, it felt normal. After all, Cory had always been open about living life to the fullest. But no one realized those jokes would soon become chilling foreshadowing. Hours after the live stream ended, Cory got into a McLaren sports car driven by Daniel Silva. Witnesses later recalled seeing the car speeding through the Los Angeles streets, weaving dangerously, ignoring the rules of the road. It was reckless, it was fast, and it was fueled by alcohol. At around 9:30 p.m., everything came crashing down. Literally. Silva lost control of the car, swerving and slamming into a stop sign and a tree. The impact was catastrophic. The sleek McLaren, built for speed, crumpled against the immovable object. Inside, Cory was critically injured. Witnesses said Silva immediately tried to flee the scene, attempting to leave Cory behind, but bystanders rushed in, preventing him from running away. Cory was pulled from the wreckage and rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Just hours after laughing with fans on livestream, Cory LaBarrie was pronounced dead. The shockwave that hit the YouTube community was immediate. News spread like wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, everywhere fans gathered, disbelief turned into heartbreak. "This can't be real," some wrote. "I just saw him live. I was literally watching him a few hours ago." That was the chilling part. Cory's fans hadn't just lost a creator, they had seen him alive, celebrating, smiling, and then they were told he was gone. The final live stream became something else entirely. A haunting memory, the last living moments of a man who had no idea his time was running out. For many, it felt like watching a ghost. Replaying the live stream now is almost unbearable. Every laugh, every joke, every smile. It's impossible not to think about what would happen just hours later. It's a video that never should have existed in the way it does. A birthday celebration that turned into a final farewell. The aftermath was chaotic and painful. Daniel Silva was arrested and later charged with murder, though the charge was eventually reduced to vehicular manslaughter. He pled no contest and was sentenced to 4 years in state prison. For Cory's family, friends, and fans, it felt like a cruel twist of fate. A night meant for joy had been stolen by recklessness and arrogance. Fans flooded Cory's social media pages, leaving messages of grief, love, and disbelief. His YouTube channel became a memorial, each video a reminder of the energy and light he brought to the world. For many, it wasn't just about losing an entertainer, it was about losing a friend, someone they had laughed with, grown with, and trusted to always show up as himself. Cory's death also sparked a larger conversation about influencer culture, drinking, and recklessness in Los Angeles. It wasn't the first time a creator's life had ended in tragedy, but it was one of the most visceral, because this time people had seen him just hours before, smiling and alive, unaware of the fate that awaited him. Looking back, Cory LaBarrie's final live stream is one of the most haunting videos ever uploaded. It captures a man in his prime, happy, laughing, celebrating life, only for that life to be stolen in the blink of an eye. When people say some videos should never have been uploaded, this is what they mean. Not because Cory did anything wrong, but because watching it now feels unbearable. Knowing the outcome, every second of the stream becomes a countdown. Every smile feels heavier. Every laugh feels like a goodbye. And yet the video remains, a permanent reminder of how fragile life can be, and how quickly joy can turn into tragedy. Cory LaBarrie's story isn't just about one night gone wrong, it's about how the internet, for all its connection and community, can sometimes capture moments we were never meant to see.